For the players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast is fueled by the Man Shake. I lost 30 kilos in 10 months using this meal replacement shake. If you want to support the show and max in my weight loss journey, or to even start your own, click the link in the description below. The Man Shake. Real blokes, real results.
For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast. Over 40 years of playing PlayStation, 8+ years in that games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record this show live. You can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation podcast. If you are listening on the podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. I'm fucking tired today, dude. I am wrecked.
You're almost fucked up in the same spot.
I know. I know. It's because my brain is a little melty.
So what were you drinking last night? What caused the...
Friend of mine, Jay, it was their birthday. So they had a trivia night. This was online. It was myself and our friend Craig and a bunch of other friends that I've made through the local wrestling scene. They ran this really cool trivia night, and it was fucking awesome. So the stipulation was get classy as you can in lockdown. Grab a drink. We're gonna play some trivia. So I did. I got from the waist up fancy. I had a nice white button shirt on with my lovely blue blazer, my lovely navy blue blazer. So I was looking fucking schmick. I was looking pretty attractive, if I do say so myself.
Had the wang out under the table.
Yeah, and then it was all dick out. I was Winnie Poohing that bad boy under the table. Like it was, it was great. Yeah, so I had to my right, I had my decanter with my turkey 101 in there, a couple things of Coke. So I'm sitting here just sipping whiskey, and it was funny. Like as I brought it in, because I clued my wife in on the bit. I'm like, hey, I'm catching up with Jay and and my other friends. We're gonna go sit down and have some beers. So I brought the tray. She's like, you're not gonna just mindlessly drink all that, are you? I'm like, well, not all of it. And that is correct. I didn't mindlessly drink all of it. I did mindlessly drink a lot of it. So I ended up getting to bed about 3:45 this morning. So I'm a little bit, and then I was up at 9:30. My alarm went off at 8 because I knew I had to get up for 10. So I guested on a podcast, a friend of the show, Jason and Travis. They're from a podcast in the US called the DualSense podcast. So they're another PlayStation pod. They reached out and were like, hey man, Travis is away on a bachelor party because they can rub it in because they can do things in the US apparently. And I was like, hey, I would love you to come on the show. And I'm like, fucking A, why not? So here I am, like freshly woken up. I just jammed 2 pieces of toast in my face because I felt uneasy. I jammed 2 bits of peanut butter toast in my face. I had a cup of tea, and I said, I was like, hey, let's talk fucking PlayStation. And because he messaged me at like 3:45, being like, hey man, here's the run sheet for the show. And I'm like, hey, blah. So what fucking time is it for you? I'm like, it's 4:15. Like, I've been backroom drinking. And he's like, this is gonna be fun tomorrow, isn't it? I'm like, yup.
Jeez.
So that was my evening anyway. So it was great chatting, having a damn good time. I really needed it, actually. So after the last couple of weeks of, as I said, have been relatively stressful, just with new roles and stuff at work. I was able to redistribute some of those roles this week, some of those tasks this week, as well as also be able to interview a bunch of my staff for a new senior role for them to take what my old role used to be. That was nice, but it was very much a brilliant, just complete, remove all that shit for a couple of hours. I just escaped it out of my head, and I got to sit and relax and have some fun and have a couple of drinks, and it was very needed, very, very needed. And I do feel a sense of at ease and relaxation, because I know in previous weeks I've talked about how like I was feeling pretty shit house for the longest time. I have kind of I have kind of hit an upswing. I don't know what's going on. Like maybe it is the work, things have changed. But yeah, like I feel like I'm in that real upward trajectory in my own mental health at the moment right now. So it's good. It's very, very
well,
good.
I also had that feeling this week. So following on from last week where I mentioned that, you know, our land settlement kind of fell through and all this crap happened. On Wednesday, we got our notice of assessments back from the taxation office. We sent them through our broker straight away. The bank's like, "Yep, cool. We're gonna set the new settlement date for Friday. Everything's good. You've done everything you can possibly do. Nothing can go wrong." Sweet. I let my solicitor know, my conveyancer know, everything's going good, and then I get an email from my my conveyancer Thursday afternoon. And I'm like, oh no, what's gone wrong? You know, after the track record we've had.
Fear the worst, yep.
And in the email is a forwarded email from the other side's solicitors, and they've turned around and gone, it's our understanding that none of this was your fault, so we're not going to charge you the penalty rates for breaking the settlement date by 9 days. So they waived all of the fees and everything is now settled, and I'm now a landowner.
Congratulations. I saw a photo and I can confirm that it is land.
So this dense weight of dread that I've had hanging over me for like the last 9 days has just gone and lifted. You know, I rang my boss Thursday afternoon. I said, look, I need a couple of days. I'm super stressed out. This is what's happening. I need a couple of days to get my head on straight. So I've got a few days off next week, and I can kind of just relax. And now that this is all dealt with, I get to play the waiting game for a couple of months before we can start our build, and then I'll get to play that game again once, you know, everything goes wrong for that, because it has been an arduous task. We've been looking at trying to purchase land since September of last year, and it's now the end of August, and we're finally settled.
Yeah, there has been a whole pandemic in there, but even then,
it has been crazy.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
But everything's going well now, so that's good.
Yeah. So it's out near my way, yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually basically driving to your place from my place. You take the left before entering your estate.
Oh damn! We're gonna be right near each other.
But it's on the other highway. It's on that side.
So I know that means nothing to anybody listening and or watching.
It changes my 15-minute drive from my place to yours to about a 5-minute drive.
Sweet. That means like when lockdowns aren't a thing, we can do more things. Yeah, especially Puck. It doesn't affect Puck at all. Puck's like, I have fucking no idea where either of you are, because he's in that country that can go and do things. So. But yeah, speaking of days off, like my boss's boss was like, "Hey, Ryan needs some time off because he's done too many hours." So essentially, I will be getting a day off, paid, like not even annual leave, just like all time in lieu. And so name the date and it's yours. So with AEW's All Out coming up, not this coming Monday, the Monday after, I think I might swing the Monday off.
Nice.
Watch pay per view.
Nice. Yeah, I just wanted a long weekend, and then I just took an extra few days. I've got like 3 weeks of leave up my sleeve, and I figured that because of the lockdown that we're in now, I'm very quiet at work. So I figured, you know,
it's probably
it'll be easy to replace me. Now's probably a good time when it's not hectic. So,
But with that time off, though, you'll be able to play some sweet games, Max.
Probably not, because my wife's working.
Oh, what a bitch. Like, that is one benefit of being in lockdown. You presumably can play some games. Max, what is it that you have been playing on your PlayStation this week?
I've been playing a grand total of 2 games this week. I've been very, very slack this week. So
have you been heavily invested in those 2 games?
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah. Only 2 games, but fuck, did I get intense in those games.
So there's a gaming podcast I listen to called DLC, and they've coined the phrase "a game you're married to." It's the game that you constantly come back to, that no matter what, you kind of just keep playing, and that's currently for me Destiny 2. So this week, the new season dropped. So there's a bunch of new content. The catch is this season, unfortunately, is going to run for the next 6 months until February. That's
the season of the Splicer or something, yeah?
Yeah, so this is Season of the Lost. So season of the Splicer ended last week. Season of the Lost has now come in, and this is basically the lead up to their big expansion that drops in February next year. So far, it's been pretty good. They've added a few new things, but it'll be that weekly drip of content that they normally provide. Other than that, the other big game that I've been playing is Ghost of Tsushima.
That is the director's cut.
Director's cut of Ghost.
So big thank you to PlayStation Australia for providing Max and I the review code for that. So we have had it since late on the night, the day before of release. So we didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with it last week. I did touch upon my early impressions on it last week, but I've spent some more time with it. You've spent some more time with it. This chat.
Yeah. So I made the wise decision of starting again because I completely forgot how to play that game. I had a bunch of abilities that I didn't know how to use. I'm like, I'm just gonna start it again fresh. I'm gonna re-dive into it. Rewatch all those cinematics now that it's.
Dude, how good is that opening cinematic again?
Because when I first played it, I was playing on like the OG PS4, so not even Pro. Now, playing on PS5, I've got a nice fancy 4K screen, it's got HDR. The game is breathtaking. So I'm playing it the same way that I played it last time. So I'm playing it with the Japanese voice English subtitles. Obviously, you instantly can see that they fixed the lip sync.
The lip sync's better?
Lip sync is incredibly better. It's not one of those poorly dubbed movies anymore that you see. Obviously, the other big additions is obviously it looks prettier. The 3D audio works really well, but the integration for the DualSense controller is absolutely phenomenal. Making sense, obviously, first party game. They want to obviously support the hardware that they've got. So you've got the standard adaptive triggers when you're pulling the bowstrings, the haptic feedback in the controller, especially during one of the early cutscenes where you're riding across the screen on your horse, and as you go across the screen, the vibration moves across the controller to show where you are on the screen. It's absolutely fantastic. They've done such a fantastic job, and I was one of those people. Because although we got provided a copy by PlayStation Australia, I paid for the upgrade so I could keep my save file and move that across. And a lot of the people were concerned that the price tag for the upgrade from the PlayStation 4 version to the PlayStation 5 Director's Cut version was a bit steep. So far, I unfortunately haven't been able to check out the Iki Island expansion stuff. You do have to get to the second island to be able to do that stuff. And because I started again, I'm still lost in the first island. I get sidetracked very easily. It's very easy to go, "Ooh, what's that over there? What's this over here?" So I haven't checked out the new content yet. But from what I've been playing so far, just with the graphical upgrades and stuff, it does seem like an easy purchase.
Yeah, so I myself kept going with my current save. I uploaded my old PS4 mostly because I knew if I started again, I would cave actually probably faster.
Oh, just before you get too far in, they did a brilliant job with the save integration for this game.
Oh, it's fantastic, by the way.
The fact that I didn't have to install the PS4 version first and upload a save. If you just had your PS4 save on your cloud storage already, it just pulls it down and instantly transfers it. it made life so much easier compared to compared to a lot of the older games. Final Fantasy VII Remake was probably the most recent one I did, where I had to download a 100 gig file
Yeah.
to upload my save file just to re-download it
And
on the
that
PS5
and
version.
Avengers were an absolute prick. Yeah.
Yeah. So great, big shout out to getting the save transfers sorted to make it easier for everyone.
Yeah, massive shout out to that. That was by far one of the easiest parts of jumping in to Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Yeah, so I said I continued on my same gameplay that I had, the same story that I had before. Save, that's the word I wanted to save. The same save from the last time I played. Now it is on the record of me not being a big fan of samurai or this. I guess that part of Ghost of Tsushima, because it just doesn't tickle my fancy for whatever reason. It just doesn't, and I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. So with that in mind, I have come into this going, all right, well, for me, I need to look at this. I need to put that aside and see my way through it. Now I'm similar to yourself. I have not got to the Iki Island stuff, mostly because where I left it, I was right in the middle of a main plot point, so I couldn't really fuck off and go look at other things. So I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I guess I best swarm this castle and save my uncle. I think whatever it was, I probably should do that. And then I think now I've since passed that. I'm now in a free space, so I will go to Iki. So we will have our thoughts on the Iki Island expansion likely in the coming week. That's certainly my plan, is to get over there.
I'll have a bunch of Legends stuff next week, because the big Legends update for the multiplayer comes out on the 3rd of September. So that's when the gear mastery system comes in. That's when the challenge modes for the raid comes in, and the new multiplayer mode as well, the 2v2 PvP PvE style game mode. So I'll be hitting that up when that drops. So you'll hear a lot more about that next week, hopefully.
So my thoughts on the game are pretty mirrored of what I talked about last week, and they also kind of mirror Max's point as well. The game is unquestionably breathtaking. It is stunning. The way that lighting works, especially now on the PS5, is tremendous. Nothing beats that DualSense support. Just running, like, you can feel the horse, like the way it's running on cobblestone compared to, to mud or grass. Like, you feel like that squelchy denseness.
Have you played the flute?
I have not played the flute yet.
And felt the rumble while you're playing the flute sounds?
No.
Crazy.
That's nuts. Combat feels good. So I'm playing on the up frame rate, so like the highest frame rate that it can possibly deliver. And holy fuck, is that actually making an incredible difference into my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm playing it in performance mode.
Yeah, so it's not that when it was not in 60, I was like, I'm not really enjoying this because of from a technical capacity, because it ran absolutely amazing. I was playing it on a PS4 Pro, and I had no hiccups at all in terms of its graphical potential or prowess. So this was just more a quality of life, and I'm like, I'm really liking the extra fluidity. Similar to yourself, I straight forgot how to play the game. I got murdered by, because I said I came right in the middle of this big set piece, so I'm just getting destroyed by dudes left and right as I try to remember how to jump and duck and just because having played a lot of Red Dead recently, and that obviously has horses in it, so I tried to jump on the horse with triangle, and I'm just slashing the horse. I'm like, fuck, I didn't mean I'm sorry, horse, I didn't mean to stab you, and I was trying to get on you to be friends. But yeah,
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I originally booted up my save, and I think I'm at the very end of the first island where you do siege that castle. And I'm riding along, and I hit the wrong button, and my horse just goes straight over a cliff. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to start again. I don't know how to play this game.
So yeah, having played a lot of Red Dead, I'm going to press X to start boosting up the horse, right? I just fucking jump off it. I'm like, oh man.
I did the same thing.
But yeah, so it was actually very easy to get back into the swing of it. Just remembering the controls, knowing how to change stances and whatnot, and trying to remember which stance goes against which type of enemy. something I didn't realize previously, maybe because I'm a moron, is like within the design of the different stances, there's a little indicator, like it's an axe or a shield or a sword, like lets you kind of like, hey, if you're unsure, this one helps the people with an axe. I go, oh,
Yeah.
Matt, all right, it's super easy. So I'm very quickly back to switching stances in between, in my different encounters as I'm going. The story is still just not hitting me in any emotional beats. Now, whether that is in addition to me completely having such a big hurdle of time between playing it and now, like last time we played it till now, or it's kind of an extension of it didn't really grab me the first time. Like, yeah, I don't find Jin all that interesting. I don't find his motivations all that interesting. I don't really find even the side characters. I feel like it's a me problem because I know a lot of people have talked about how good of a character he is, how good of a story he has, but to me, it's just not hitting any beat. Now, that's pre-director's cuts. That's not a slight on the director's cut itself. But yeah.
I think I said something similar when we first looked at it when it originally came out, because I had the same issue with the story where it wasn't pulling me forward, and like I know that's on me, like that's just my thing, because I like the game for what it is, because I played so much of that multiplayer, and it's the exact same gameplay as what the single player is, but for some reason the multiplayer beats just hit better for me than what the single player did. Having going back to it now, I am enjoying it more than I did the first time around.
I would say I am enjoying it right now.
I don't know whether that's because I don't recall what came out at around the same time as Ghost of Tsushima last time. I don't know if I was already invested in something at the time.
It was just before Last of Us. I think we're pretty fixed on Last of Us.
So I don't know if that was an issue, but I'm definitely enjoying it a lot more this time around. Whether it be because of the extra the features that are now making things more engaging with the DualSense controller, the 3D audio, all that stuff is making the game more immersive for me. But the game is still absolutely fantastic, and obviously one of the definitely a nice standout title for PlayStation.
But in terms of your stance around the value proposition,
until I get to Iki Island, I guess I do this thing where, and I know it's a really bad analogy to use, but if I go to the movies, it's going to cost me $40 to go to the movies for 2 hours of value. If I get more than 2 hours of value out of a $40 expansion, I justify that as being worth the money. Now, I know that this is a interactive medium versus a non-interactive medium of going to the movies, but that's just how I benefit it.
Yeah.
Because I do, it's the same with like, before the pandemic, I used to play a lot of escape room board games where you would buy a $30 box game and you could only ever play it once, because once you've solved it, that's it. And as long as I'm getting my value for that $30, I don't mind that it's a one-time use thing. So I don't have a problem paying for an upgrade if the content is there. And unfortunately, I can't comment to whether or not the content is there yet because I haven't gotten to that point. But just from what I've seen, just the additions of, the improved graphics, the improved audio, the DualSense support, it does seem worthwhile to begin with. And obviously, having that expansion is only going to add to that value.
Yes, there's a couple different things.
I just wish it was easier to find in the store. Now, it did take me a while to work out which one I was supposed to purchase.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's on me just not getting there in time.
But yeah, so in terms of the value proposition, because it is $125 to buy at the moment.
Which is the standard cost of a PlayStation 5 title at the moment for us
cost,
anyway.
So that part I understand. However, so if you originally owned it and you bought it full price, it's $100, and then it's a $50 upgrade. So technically you're paying $150 for this version of Ghost of Tsushima. Now, similar to yourself, I have not got to the Iki Island, as I said. So one of the big reasons I'm not sure is because I don't know whether there's a story with potential story spoilers in there. I don't want to go there and then like you're supposed to go there at the end of the game sort of thing, and I go, oh well, that sucks.
Everyone's like on the island living happily ever after, and you're like, I did save everyone.
Yeah, sweet, I did save everyone. Okay, cool, that's nice.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I'm a little hesitant. I'm going to push through as much as the rest of the story as I can. I don't think I really have that much left if I don't get distracted by all the side stuff again, which is what I did last time.
And it's very easy to get distracted in that game.
Yeah, so it is $50. So the way I think about it is, for most games standard, right? They do the $10 to $15 upgrade to the next gen version. So if it's $50, I'm gonna substitute $10, $15 off, right? So let's say it's $35, $40. From the accounts that I've seen and I've heard, the Iki expansion sits at about 8 to 10 hours, right? Mm-hmm. It's not too bad. So if I looked at it as $35 to $40 for a 10-hour thing, if similar to yourself, Max, you do a cost, you do a money to time value proposition, then to me that sounds pretty great. If you like Ghost of Tsushima, because I say in terms of the $15 maximum to upgrade to the PS5 version, that unquestionably is worth the dollars. Yeah. Like I understand that Sony want to ensure that by having that paid swap to the next gen, they're going, hey, we want to demonstrate to you that that money is worth it. You are getting high quality. It's essentially Nintendo gold seal of approval shit. You know what I'm saying? You pay $10, you will get a better version of the game. Not just a straight upgrade to the PS5. It will be better. And I look at that, and I look at the supports for the DualSense, etc. I don't know how it's done, but it feels like a lot of work went into it. It looks amazing. The load times are somehow better. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot of brilliant back-end work around this PS4 to PS5 upgrade that I would be more than comfortable to pay $15 for. So that other $35 to $40 is based on that expansion, which neither you or I have played yet, so we can't comfortably make that call. The only call we can make right now is, from all accounts, it seems to be about so roughly 10-ish hours if you complete it 100%. So if you can equate those two together, sweet. Then that might be a win. We'll obviously have more to say about that in the coming weeks. Probably likely next week, because you've got your more legends to chat about, and I want to push through this as much as I can and roll those credits. So at the moment, we can't make the claim on whether you should pick up the expansion if you want to, or upgrade the version that you currently have. It's a tough one there.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll be back next week with more Ghost of the Tsushimas. Max, is it just Destiny and Ghost of Tsushima, yeah?
So I have played one more thing. I played the Call of Duty Vanguard Alpha is currently live on PlayStation consoles. Mm-hmm. It went live at 3 a.m. this morning at time of recording, so I jumped in for a couple of rounds this morning. And I don't know whether all the hardcore Call of Duty players are just all jumped on this at once, or I just suck at the game now.
Yeah. Welcome to me a handful of years ago, mate.
I did not have a good time.
Yeah.
And so it's one single game mode. It's called like Champions Hill, something like that, where you play in duos, and there's 8 teams of 2, and you all play in like a little slice of the map. So you're very small maps. It's 2v2. You get 12 lives per team. Every time you kill someone on the enemy team, you steal one of their lives. Your lives go up. Their lives go down. After 3 minutes, the match ends, and you get swapped into a different team. And then you go again, and you verse a different team of 2. And then it's basically a survival of the strongest of who can steal as many lives. Every couple of rounds, you get a free round where you can go buy new gear, so upgrade your weapons, buy grenades, buy tactical grenades, get armor, buy kill streaks, all that stuff. The game seems to be running well. I believe it's running on the Modern Warfare engine. It's the same engine that their Battle Royale Warzone runs on. That seems fine. I think COD is just not for me anymore.
Yeah, there does come a point where it's no longer for you, and like I think for me,
I'm still really shitty that Activision have turned around and made the claim that all their studios are just working on Call of Duty now, and it seems like every single Call of Duty game that comes out now, Treyarch is going to do a zombies mode that progresses their story. So instead of having to buy a Call of Duty once every 3 years, I now have to buy it every year just to play zombies.
Well, you don't have to buy it on day one though. That's the big
I
difference.
also hate myself that I'm the sucker who really enjoys zombies that's going to do it. I mean, yeah, I'll probably wait for the Christmas sale when they go like stupidly cheap. But it's so frustrating. Like, why? And I get that a lot of people do enjoy Call of Duty, but I think this year, now that Battlefield is back this year, they've had time off. I think, for me personally, the World War II style games have just been played out, and I want something more either near future or futuristic. And Battlefield this year is doing all of it. Because of their new game mode, they've got everything from the Battlefield series. So I think, and especially with this lawsuit that's still going on with Activision Blizzard, I think a lot of people may vote with their wallets and go Battlefield this year.
I disagree. I think there will still be one of the best selling games of the year, unquestionably.
Oh yeah, I mean it always is. Yeah. Like, but
whether there'll be a noticeable decrease, I'm unsure of, and I would have to wait on that one. But
yeah,
I'm not feeling all that confident that it'll make such a big line in the sand. They'll go, oh,
yeah. So the alpha, for those interested, the alpha is running this weekend. I think it ends Tuesday for Australians.
So when this goes live on podcast feeds, it will still have a little bit of time left on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of betas, though, alphas, and betas. One of the things I did play over the weekend was the Riders Republic. We were initially in the closed beta. It is now open.
I did check that out. I think I played for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I say that because I was about the same. So we won a copy of it through Well Played. It's an Australian outlet. So we weren't provided it by Ubisoft itself. The closed beta was NDA'd up the butt. It was crazy. Even as general players, it was fucking insane.
Yeah.
But now that it is an open beta, we can discuss what we had. So I played probably about 15, 20 minutes of it. I say this, there's very clear reasons. So game opens. You start off on a mountain bike. That felt fine. I was like, oh, cool. This is playing all right. I can feel it's a bit. There's some jank to it, but like it's clearly youth. It's like Ubisoft have clearly doubled down on the Steep mentality. They were like, oh, we believe that Steep is going to be something, and in the same way that they supported The Division, in the same way they supported Siege, they were like, we are going to back this a little bit longer. So they made Riders Republic,
which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
It's good that a developer is willing to support their games.
It's horrible that Ubisoft tend to be a shitty company, but like their supporting of these games for at least a little bit longer is a good thing. Like we always see is companies go, it didn't work, well fuck you, and then they shut it down and they leave it go, and they'll never return to it. So they believe that there is something of value in this style of game, especially and then Riders Republic. So you start off with the mountain bike, which then transitions into like a wingsuit with a jet on it.
Jetpack wingsuit.
Yeah, I'm like this. Okay, sure. And then it ends on some skiing, from memory. Yes.
Yep.
And I was like, cool. All right. Well, this is the base mechanics. All right. It feels like Steep. I like the mountain biking, whatever. And then they go deliver a little bit of the story, and you walk into this like little compound thing. The first person walks up to, he's like, yeah, dude, man, what the fuck's going on, bro? I'm like, ew, and I turned it off.
So I stuck around for a little bit longer where they're like, hey, man, we're going to give you your first BMX. And then I got my BMX, and then I did a race, and then that was it.
Yeah, no, because like instantly that turned me off. Because I understand like there are people that talk like that. Shit, half of my vernacular is still dude, bro, mate, hey, gnarly, whatever. Like they should be my people. But it felt so forced and not real. They're like, oh, well, let's speak like the fucking youth speak. And like or how, extreme people speak. I'm like, this is gross. I can't. So I bounced.
Yeah. So their big thing that's running in the beta, I think it's available. I think it ends tomorrow at time of recording.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
If you're listening to this,
by this going on.
Their big thing is the mass races, which I think are like 64 player races. I did one of those. It was fine. This game is definitely not for me. I don't enjoy sports games. I know this is a beta. I had a few technical hiccups. I had some weird texture pop in and out for a
had a lot
game
of
that's
slowdown in cinematic. It was crazy.
in cinematics. It was chugging. Like you could clearly see the frames skipping along. It was But again, it is a beta. It's early. These things will hopefully be fixed by release.
On a game that's seen a number of delays. So this game it does come out relatively soon. So I don't know how beta-y this beta is. Like this may just be a stress test in terms of online support.
Server load, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very likely that this is a seemingly new but old version of the game. But I imagine, like every other time there's been a beta, that this is near on exactly what the game will be.
Yeah.
So we're not thinking very positive. Additionally, I have spent a lot more time in Hades because Hades fucking rocks. That game is just getting better and better and better.
So how far have you progressed?
I still haven't got past that stupid horn fuck.
Yeah, so you haven't beat Elysium yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Saying that though, as I was talking about this last week, I don't feel like I'm missing out. By having not been able to pass Elysium yet, I'm not sitting here going, I'm not like Returnal, where I felt like I just hit a wall and I just, no matter what I could do, I could not break through that wall. So with Hades, I'm just like, all right, I'm the collecting things, like, and those things I can use to repurchase, like the purple shades are called in the mirror, and I'm getting gems so I can add some cool stuff to my runs, and like there's all, like, I'm constantly progressing, and not even just in a gameplay perspective, from a narrative perspective, like the way you die, come back, and someone gives you a brand new conversation chain. I'm like, oh, the game kind of, it's almost it's like there are times where I'm like, was I meant to die? Which I guess is a little bit of a supported thing within a roguelike, like there are roguelite, I guess, like this, where normally most roguelikes are just brutal and they just fuck you up. So this doesn't have that intensity, which is nice. And then that sense of progression is always there, which keeps me going and keeps me wanting to go again. Because I've only really done like 20 runs, I think, not even. So it's not as if I'm like have hammered the fuck out of the game.
Yeah.
So it's still not too bad. I have unlocked most of the weapons. I think there's one more. I just unlocked the fucking fisticuffs, which were awesome. In certain runs, they're fantastic, but in other runs, they are useless.
Yeah. You want to avoid a knockback on the fists. You do not want to get any boons that knock enemies away when you hit them. You want to be able to stay up close.
Yeah. So I remember I did that, and I tied it with like some Zeus power ups, so like electric zaps as well. So punch, and then they just get electrocuted and shit. So that was good fun. Nice. But yeah, and even the boons are a stack of fun. They add like a nice, like they are random, and they are random enough that your run will alter. However, they are not so RNG like Returnal, where there are times I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this?
Well,
there's always one thing I can pick that'll help me out.
Yeah. So as you progress through the game, you can give the NPCs in the game the nectar, and that increases their like level of their friendship level essentially with you. And you can also supply these to the gods, and as you give these gifts to the characters, they will actually give you trinkets in return that are equipable, and then you have like a higher chance of getting a boon from that god. So if you're like, I'm playing with the shield, so I want to make sure I have knockback stuff. Therefore, I'm going to take the trinket that gives me a higher chance of getting Poseidon boons. And then there's certain boons that you can only get if you have the right combination of boons. So if you've got, say, Hades and Poseidon, you're more likely to get their dual boon and stuff like that. So you can kind of take that a little bit of that RNG out, which I really enjoy, but there's still enough there to be like, you can't go in and be like, specifically, I want this one, and this one. There's still that randomness, but you can kind of lower it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And that's a big plus. That is a big plus for me. And it does make the game more bearable and more enjoyable, which is good. Which is good stuff. No, I mean that in terms of like Returnal, which.
Oh, sorry. On my other screen, I just got a picture that flashed up from the chasers, just saying that the government has successfully slowed down the Delta outbreak by signing it up for the NBN.
Ha!
I kind of laughed out loud there and threw off my my train of thought.
That's all good. But I think that's everything that we have played this week. So before we jump into the news, that's the end of the section we call our Get Less Fat update, where we tell you about what our week has been like. So for those that don't know, during 2020 and 2021, I have lost over 35 kilos using a product called the Man Shake, a product that does in fact support the show and that I am an ambassador for. Max jumped on the Man Shake at the beginning of this year. He's sitting at just shy of 15 kilos down himself. So what we do each and every week, we come on here, we tell you about our weight loss journey and how we've been for that week, just to keep ourselves accountable and to share the journey with you. Max, how has your week been?
So much like last week, I've been pretty terrible this week. Again, my stress levels had been high all week until literally yesterday when everything kind of fell into place. So I've been pretty abysmal. I haven't been eating crap, but I also have not had a single shake this week. I've been a very, very naughty. But I am doing, despite the fact that we're in lockdown and my work has slowed down, because I do a lot of walking at work, I'm still hitting that 18K steps every day, which is good. At least I'm doing that. I'm not eating crap. I'm still eating relatively well. I have been terrible this week with the shakes.
Nice.
So I don't think I've put anything on, but I definitely haven't lost anything this week.
Yeah.
So just sitting average.
So my week has been relatively the same as it has been. I'm very much in that routine, which is great. However, my evening chocolate consumption has increased, probably due to stresses as well. So I will have to look at curbing that potentially.
I mean, I say that I was pretty bad today. My wife made scones this morning, so I had 3 scones with jam and cream for lunch. So
you still got to treat yourself. You know what I'm saying?
But that was so good.
But yeah, so like that part of me is still like I'm still getting a little bit of that sneaky chocolate at the evening. Thankfully, it's not too bad, so it's not like I'm just like eating a fuck ton. But there has been a days where it's kind of thrown me off. Like today, because I felt a little bit worse for where I have had a shake. I've also had like some toast and just some other sustainable, like a bit more
something to
liquid.
like something to soak up that.
Whatever's excess booze is stuck within me. So I've had a little bit of broken the rules today, which is fine. But the My Muscle Chef meals have come in, so they'll be continuing with them over the next 2 weeks again. I still really am enjoying doing them, especially now that I'm not doing the gym because of the lockdown. That does make it a lot harder. I do miss the gym.
There is a convenience also to having pre-portioned, pre-cooked meals, like so it's that that analysis paralysis of like, what am I going to cook? And then you're like, I just can't be bothered, and you just do whatever's easiest because it's already there and ready, and it is easy. You don't have that.
And like it is good, but it isn't good. I shouldn't become solely reliant on these microwaved meals because although they are good for you, like it's not quite the same. Like they are very portion controlled and that sort of stuff, but it doesn't beat home cooked stuff. But yeah, at the moment, like I said, my work hours are getting crazy. So it's very easy to come home and like it's not like by my wife not having to wait for me to come home to cook dinner or something. She's cooking for herself and the kid. It does make life a little bit easier. But I am, especially it doesn't look like the gyms will be opening anytime soon. Especially with potential concerns around COVID here in Geelong. We ain't going anywhere. So I'm going to need to look at what I'm going to do. Especially like I wouldn't mind picking up.
You're gonna have to start squatting your son.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind picking up the walking again, but like it is plover season, and I do have a big fear of those fuckers since they jacked me up that time. So I am very
get a restraining order. You'll be right.
I am very cautious. Like I'm genuinely actually a bit scared. Like not scared. Like there is a bit of fear Mostly because I'm like, oh, I just don't want to. I don't want to just want to deal with it.
We've been taking Hadley down to the Barn River and walking along the river, and there's a big soccer field down there that she can kind of just run around on and tire herself out, and then we walk back. It's not too bad.
Yeah, so like going skateboarding with my son the other week was a good little bit of fun for that, which was nice. But yeah. So that goes. But if you want to support us on our weight loss journey, you can by clicking the link in the description below. It is bit.ly/FTP Manshake. By going over there, you don't even have to buy anything. Just clicking the link will help support the show. But if you do want to give it a go, you're always welcome to. So that link can do that too. All right, Max. Finally, we can get into what took place this week. And this week has been an absolute banger. As even though I hate that expression, I did it on purpose. It has been a lot. So with opening night live being the big one, is that what we're kicking off?
Yeah, let's kick it off. And we'll kick off with perhaps the biggest news for Sony fans at opening night live. We finally got some news about Horizon Forbidden West. So, during opening night live, Guerrilla Games did confirm the game's release date to be the 18th of February 2022. The back end of this, but they also announced that Horizon Zero Dawn has received a 60 FPS patch for the PlayStation 5, and pre-orders will open for Horizon Forbidden West on the 2nd of September.
Well, there's some good things and there's some bad things there. Well, it's good, like they're obviously at least sticking to the date somewhat with their opening pre-orders, because one of the biggest things that we've had, especially with that state of play earlier in the year, they're like, well, why can't even we pre-order it yet? Because they were that not confident in the date.
Yeah.
So at least here they go, oh well, we're pretty confident that if we don't hit Feb, it may roll into March maybe, but when we've hit those correct milestones, we are now 100% on the home stretch. It does align with what we thought was going down, because you and I we've speculated about if when it delays into 2022 when it will be. I think I may have selected March, so I was a little bit off only because in my head. The previous one did release in March, but it didn't. It released in like the late February or the 28th, or I think it was. And then obviously because with Zelda in March, I connected to in my head. So it is nice that it is near on 5 years to the day of the release of Zero Dawn, whether accidentally or not. That's pretty cool. But one thing I don't know whether you chopped it in here as well. Let me have a look in those quick biddies. No, you did not. So and there's an event in the US, like a screening thingy where someone showed off some Uncharted footage of Tom Holland jumping out of a plane. So it is coming out on the exact same day as this. So the question is, Max, which is getting buried? Horizon Forbidden West or the Uncharted movie?
The Uncharted movie.
Oh yeah, by far. CinemaCon, thank you, Park. Yeah, convention for theater owners. Yeah.
Obviously the movie is going to get buried.
Yeah, they are wanting to. I don't know whether this is intentional or not. I don't know. It just happens to be a Thursday or a Friday or whatever.
It's like movie theaters don't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
like a lot of them shut down in America. We can't go to the movies here in Australia. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, like, I look at it as in like, are they trying to own the conversation across multiple media sources, whether it be movies, TV, as well as games?
What do you think this
is it
means
accidental? Because Sony has a history of just burying stuff. Like Concrete Genie came out and it was very, very good, but they obviously had concerns about it because they dropped the PS5 news that day. See, it goes either two ways. Are they smart enough to make that decision and be cognitive that two things are coming out on the same day, and intentionally did it, or did they just look down and went, fuck? I probably think the second.
What do you think this means for God of War? God of War end of next year?
Yeah. So next year's slate is literally God of War. Horizon in the first half, Gran Turismo 7 mid-year, God of War at the back end of the year. That's how I see it. because they do like to have their sort of big quarters 1, 2, and 3, and then Q4 they tend to leave alone, mostly because that's when their third parties get involved, like Call of Duty, etc. So there is no real reason for them to drop something in that time.
Yeah.
So February, June-ish, and then probably October for God of War. Now, there has been times where things have come out in close proximity, and we talk of like Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us. However, that was due to a series of delays, not intentional. I think Spider-Man and God of War came out relatively close to each other, but that was also from a delayed shift around time as well. So ideally, they have been using that structure, and there is an exception to the rule, of course, which I always make sure to mention. The last Guardian did come out in December of the year as it's released, 2017 or whatever, but once again, due to delays, and like they just had to get that game out, so there was a push on to get that done. So I think that's the plan, and I do think that we will likely. Ideally, we would be getting a showcase relatively soon, and that will announce that, hey, this is kind of what next year looks like. And I think the reason that they haven't done that yet is probably Horizon's a big part of that. Until they have that information locked in, they weren't going to have a showcase, because if they couldn't put the date in there, which they did, they did it separately here anyway, if they couldn't line that up, that would have asked more questions than answered, and they would have made it a much harder conversation to have. But if potentially they can go, hey, at least if they can at least go Feb, June, and then leave God of War at 2022, at least announce its name or something, that would make sense. Now, obviously, this showcase, if it has all of these 3 beats, that's a pretty intense showcase. But that's what's needed right now. They've been quiet for so long. That is all they really have going for the movie. Like, I don't want to hear what they have I would like to hear what they have in 2023 out of potential curiosity. But right now, the conversation needs to be on, why should I get a PS5? Now, all these 3 games are not just coming to PS5. They're coming to PS4. So that there's a lot of selling that needs to be done by Sony over the coming year on why you need to upgrade. Why, like, as shipment is becoming more and more, why you need to hunt one down. Yeah, they haven't been having that chat yet, so it's intense.
And next up we have Marvel's Midnight Suns. So we got an announcement trailer for Marvel's Midnight Suns, the next game from Firaxis Games, the guys behind XCOM. Showcase some of the heroes available in the game, including Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain Marvel,
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, an entirely new hero was made completely for this game. There will be a gameplay video coming out on the 1st of September, so we won't have to wait long for that. And the game is slated for a March 2022 release.
So, I did get a little hard looking at this trailer. It got me quite excited. Because what the vibes that I did get from it were very Marvel's Ultimate Alliance.
Well, that's what I originally thought it was.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, is this the rumored tactical, like the XCOM Marvel game? And yes, it seems to be that's what it is.
Yeah,
looked really cool. It did very much look Ultimate Alliance-y. I was concerned that it was going to flash at the end of at the end of the thing, and similar to the last Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, be a Switch exclusive for some reason.
Yeah, no, this game looked way too good to be on the Switch. Like, get fucked, that's not happening.
I was ready to be really disappointed. And then they kind of, did the old switcheroo. I'm a big fan of the XCOM games. I do like that tactical style gameplay. I think it could work well with heroes. I don't know how I would feel about, especially in XCOM games, there are permanent death to characters. I don't know how I would feel about losing one of my Marvel heroes.
See, for me, it actually...
If there is permadeath.
It makes me quite excited. So, hang on, as I get away from the mic. For those that know, like during the lockdown one, I've really got into this miniatures game called Marvel Crisis Protocol, right? So, where it is a tabletop miniatures board game, essentially, like a war game, where you use varying Marvel superheroes and villains, in what would be an XCOM-esque fashion. So, I can play this essentially. Yeah. Hell yeah. Give me that. I want that. I'll play the fuck out of that.
Next up, we had Dokev, which is the next title from developer Pearl Abyss. They're the guys behind. So they had a gameplay trailer that was shown. It's a creature collecting open world game. It was originally advertised as an MMO. The developers have come out and said it's definitely not an MMO. We've moved away from that. It is definitely an open world adventure game. This is the team that showcased Crimson Desert during the Game Awards last year, and that title has been indefinitely delayed.
So, this game, okay, it does. The art style is a little bit too weeby for me, for lack of a better.
It was very Kingdom Heartsy.
Yeah, and that throws me off almost instantly. Like I love that it is vibrant. Like the colors are incredibly vibrant. Like it does look like a happy bright world, which is I guess great. We're not seeing that a lot always, and it is kind of that stylized little idea. My concern about any creature collecting game is it just fucking Pokemon?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm not excited for.
At least Bug Snacks had it was creature collecting, but it did it in such a unique way that it was.
Man, I totally forgot about Bug Snacks until I was in the shower the other day, and I went, "Oh, Bug Snacks!"
Just casually thought of Bug Snacks in the shower.
Yeah, I did. I was just like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, Bug Snacks was a thing."
Next up, we had Sifu, which we got a release date trailer. Game is set to launch 22nd of Feb 2022.
Give
Super keen.
me that shit. What?
Dude, February got stacked all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Not
even mad. Like, give me that sweet fucking old boy, the raid, that hallway sequence in Daredevil in a game. Give me that shit. I want to play it. It looks dope. Now I've not played Absolver, which is the game these guys previously worked on, which is apparently a very intricate fighting game.
I've played Absolver.
Is it dope?
It's hard.
And that's the thing that I'm worried. Like, is Sifu going to be hard as what I've heard Absolver to be? Yeah. Maybe not.
Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Jet the Far Shore, which got a new gameplay / story trailer. So we got to see some of the story beats behind the game, why you're out exploring, and the game has been confirmed for a 5th of October release. So we won't have to wait long to play that.
Woo. That game looks cool. It looks kind of tranquil. I'm super keen.
Yeah. Next up, we have Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So we got a new gameplay trailer showcased. This is set to span all 9 movies with the Skywalkers. There is no defined release date yet, but it is very much a Lego game. Lots of funny quips, and it looks exactly like you would expect from any of the Lego games. They kind of all look the same these days.
Yeah, my son has been playing the Lego games recently because now that he is 4, he is getting better at games. I'm like, oh, well, let's push that. So we're playing Lego Jurassic World the other day. He's also been playing Marvel Superheroes 2 for the longest time. Getting him into some Star Wars would be beautiful, man. So hopefully we can go down that path.
Next up, we had Cult of the Lamb, which is the new title from Massive Monster. It is a roguelike game. They didn't specify what consoles, but it is coming to consoles, and I believe it was due out next year. So this also had this very cartoon-esque art style. It seemed to have not just be a roguelike game, it also seemed to have like a base building component to it. Not too much information was given, but it looked pretty cool. Did you see this one?
I did not.
Yeah, so it looked awesome. Basically, you play as a lamb that becomes a cult leader. It's very weird. Looks really cool though. Next up, we had King of Fighters 15. This game is set to launch on the 17th of February next year, and it will launch with 39 playable characters. But King of Fighters is still a thing. They're up to number 15.
Yeah, fighting games. It's weird. I'm like, Sifu, give me that shit. And it's like, hey, it's a fighting game. I don't want
Next up, I think a game that is a betting game, Jurassic
Yeah,
World
it
Evolution
is.
2. So showed a new gameplay trailer. You now have like aquatic animals that you can use, and this is set to launch on the 9th of November this year.
Yeah, so the big things here, yeah. So you have aquatic dinosaurs as well as airborne ones like your pterodactyls and your plesiosaurs and whatever, and the crocodile looking motherfucker that chomped the T-Rex in Jurassic World. Yeah, so I'm excited for this because it's why the fuck not? It looks exciting. It comes out around my birthday, which is the excuse to buy it. But for me, admittedly, the big thing that has me excited. So, friend and founder of the Pop Cultures with myself, Dylan Bowden. This has been Jurassic World Evolution has been the game that's like kept him alive during this fucking pandemic and these lockdowns, right? So I was very happy to now know that I'll have him around to at least November 9th because he'll be pretty keen on this. So I don't see him dying between now and then. So
that's good news.
That is very good news, mate. Hey, look forward to the future, mate. Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Next up, we have Fall Guys, which is receiving a crossover event with Disney's The Jungle Book. There will be 4 character skins. I think it's Mowgli, Baloo, the Panther, I believe, and the Monkey King. And there is those skins will be available starting from the 3rd of September. The 4th skin, the Monkey King, will have a thank you, Craig.
Yeah, Bagheera and King Louis.
Couldn't think of his name. His skin, I believe, is tied to a special event. It's not just straight purchasable. So for the next from September 3rd until I think for 2 weeks, they'll be running in-game events for Fall Guys.
I'm surprised. Excuse me. The Fall Guys are still getting support. It has been a little while, and it has certainly quietened down. And the couple of times I've tried to play it at work, I just couldn't find a game. So obviously they're still supporting it. But I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks, Park. It has been such a long time since I've watched.
Yeah, Shere Khan is the Panther.
Next up, we had Midnight Fight Express. Did you see the trailer for this?
I have heard things.
So this is the game that is being developed by a single person, and this game is set to launch in 2022. It does have a similar feel of it looked like you were like progressing through like an office level. There's a lot of fighting.
Like John Wick, very feeling.
Yeah. It looked very interesting, especially since it is being made by a single person.
Yep.
Very impressive. Splitgate announced that Season 0 has begun. That's
I saw it. See, this is the thing.
Splitgate being the Portal-style shooter game that is currently in beta now that the game was indefinitely delayed due to the fact that they can't work on finishing the game while supporting the server loads of the beta that's currently running. So they're doing that Fortnite thing where they're just going to leave it in early access, which gives them the luxury of being able to pump out updates more frequently.
Yeah, I'm going to say something that's probably a little controversial, and I did say this on the show that I guested on this morning. It's about how the selling point of Splitgate is it's Portal and Halo, right? Mm-hmm. The Portal part's interesting. I do think that adds a lot of dynamics to a shooter, especially when you can it's a great way to flank people and get fucked up. So I believe it. The way I read it, it would give you the same sort of energy, and that like Siege would. Where no one, you're not really safe anywhere. Like there's always could just be a portal behind you and fuck your day up. So that I kind of like from a design perspective. However, the selling point of it being like Halo doesn't do it for me. I never grew up with Halo, so I never played a lot of the Halo multiplayer. And even when I had played it, it didn't feel good to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain why I didn't like it back in the day, because I know it's praised by many. I just don't have that nostalgia for it. So, am I in the wrong there? It appears that way.
Next up, we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, this being an arcade-style brawler game. They announced that April O'Neil will be joining the cast as a playable character.
Good. She's part of the show. She's big part of the Turtles. Why would she not be?
Next up, we have Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Morgana from Persona 5 is the new secret character coming to the game. Next up, we had a Call of Duty Vanguard showcase. I believe Laura Bailey came out on stage as she is playing one of the main characters in the campaign, and we got about 10 minutes of campaign gameplay where she is playing as a Russian sniper, I believe, who was a nurse in the war.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Next up, we had Saints Row. So they showed off the announcement trailer for the Saints Row. What's the word I'm looking for?
Reboot.
The reboot. And it is aiming for a 25th of February release date.
So adds to February. Now look, I will admit, we heard rumblings of this prior. So it was very good to see it, because when we saw the trailer, like everybody else, it was like, yeah, this is good. Like, right now there's a lot of heat towards the trailer.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people are very upset that the game is being rebooted, but the developer has doubled down and they're like, no, this is what we're gonna do. Like, we are going to do this.
And to add to all the points that we discussed last week around the Saints Row, is like, this needs that reboot. This needs some grounding again. And I think that's what they're doing here. Like, they're setting it in a whole different town, in like a whole different area, in a fictional town, but like none of the flashiness of the previous Saints Rows. It's fully co-op, which I'm sure tickles your funny area. So like it sings a couple of things that are interesting to me.
So they had the voice actor of the protagonist come out and have a chat about what we can expect. That was really cool. The game looked awesome. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, because I having not been a huge Saints Row guy, I was always on the GTA side of things. And when I first saw this, I was a bit concerned that it was going to be like a Fortnite style GTA, because of the graphic styling they've chosen to go with. I hope that's not the case. From what they've been talking about and from what we've heard, doesn't seem to be the case. Very interested. I'm really worried that February is getting too stacked though.
No, it's fine. Absolutely fine.
And last of all, knowing Jeff Keighley, we ended with Death Stranding Director's Cut. We got a 10-minute deep dive into the quality of life changes that have been added to the game. So we now have jet boosters, so we can jump off the bloody snowy mountain and just kind of glide our way down. They re-upped on the cargo cannon that we saw. You can now do 6 stunts on your jet booster bikes. They've added in basically like a training sim where you can replay bosses from the game. There's gun ranges, new story missions. They've reworked the melee combat to be closer to that of Metal Gear Solids. Seems good.
Yeah, so I am keen. We've discussed how we are both keen to replay Death Stranding. The new story missions is what interests me, because that's what I loved about the game. In the game itself, aside from the boss fights, I rarely fired the gun. So the gun range is interesting. I get to be able to use a lot of the guns or whatever and try it. A lot of these quality of life items are awesome, like the buddy and the
the buddy just carries you now. You're like, I don't want to walk. You just sit on your buddy and he's got all your packages for you. You just ride him along.
But the thing that I think we commented about it being uncertain on it anyway, and then on top of that, looking at it here, they showed the track, the racetrack, and then they showed that truck looking thing, how it was having such a hard time taking that corner, and I'm like, that is not a good showcase, because one of the things that this game did not the best, like I remember playing it going, I don't remember seeing them going, how good are the vehicle controls in this game? So from a racing perspective,
most of my deaths came from like shitty vehicle control and getting stuck on like a pebble.
Yep.
And then the guys would just like and get you.
Yep.
Because you were stuck in the car.
Straight up, absolutely. And like that's the thing that I'm like, Is the racetrack really the right decision on that? Yeah, I guess it's silly and it's fun, but not what I would seek out.
Yeah.
Still gonna play it though. Something that I'm sure we would play, Max, if it ever fucking happens, is The Last of Us 2 multiplayer. So there's been the longest rumbling for the longest times about the Last of Us 2 multiplayer factions, or presumably factions, very similar to that of the first. It has been pretty quiet, and with the game coming out near on a year and 2 months, so about 14, 15 months, we would think we'd be hearing something soon. However, I'm disappointed. Naughty Dog Jobs on Twitter posted, quote, Naughty Dog is hiring across multiple disciplines for the studio's first standalone multiplayer game, exclamation mark, end quote. Co-game director Vinit Ajwai also took to Twitter saying, quote, we're aggressively hiring. Apply if you want to be part of bringing the cinematic experience between players in our new standalone multiplayer action game, end quote.
So they're looking for game designers, level designers, sound designers, multiplayer backend. Like, they're looking for a lot of roles, and if they're only aggressively hiring now for it, I can only assume that it's still a while off.
Yeah, that's presuming that it is for The Last of Us, which that's the only thing that really checks out from the information that is currently known or spoken about or leaked. There's only one thing that this level of specificity can only connect to. So we'll have to wait and see. Now I know. Oh, of course you put some news to get you going. So
this will be fun. Just a heads up. Apparently my recording stopped for a while.
That's all right. It's fine. We can use the stream audio. All right, Max. I'm going to lean back so you can start gushing about the Destiny 2.
So just before Gamescom, Bungie had their showcase for the upcoming Witch Queen release, the expansion for Destiny 2. This is set to release February 22nd. Yet another game that's coming out in February. So this is going to revamp the light subclasses over the course of its year 5. So they're going to work on the Arc, the Arc, the Void, and the Solar subclasses. They will not be adding a new Darkness subclass, which we got this year in the form of Stasis. They announced we will be getting new dungeons or raids every 3 months with the lineup of the seasons that will progress through the year of the Witch Queen. They have announced that there will be a new weapon type called the Glaive, which is going to be the first-person melee weapon available in the game. Weapon crafting is being added to the game, along with the return of the legendary difficulty campaign. They teased and they introduced the Hive, being the Witch Queen being a Hive boss. They have introduced Hive Guardians that wield the power of the light. So they had subclasses of the Hunter, the Titan, and the Warlock in Hive form. So that looks really cool and interesting. They also announced a 30th year anniversary event happening this December with a themed dungeon and the exotic rocket launcher, the Galahorn, returning, fan favorite of Destiny 1. And then obviously, as I alluded to earlier, that I've been playing, the new Season of the Lost will be launched straight after the end of this showcase and will run all the way up until the launch of the Witch Queen next year. So they're adding obviously a bunch of content. They're trying to line up the light classes to be similar to that of the darkness classes of Stasis, where you have different aspects that are equipable that will change up the way the class works. They're trying to neaten everything up. Which is a good thing because some of them are very convoluted at the moment. Having a little bit more freedom in the way your class is set up is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. The fact that they've announced that we will have either raids or dungeons. So raids are their big end game 6-player content. Dungeons are generally shorter and a little bit easier than what raids are, but they're they're 3-man content. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm very interested to see how they progress this story, because the last 2 seasons have been leading up to what we will be doing in The Witch Queen.
Nice. So
The seasonal storytelling that they've been doing to lead up to this has been really fantastic.
all right. So in terms of the of this showcase of this information, does everything coming up Millhouse for Max?
Yeah, the fact that, because obviously this was due out at the back end of this year, it got delayed into next year. So having it be early on in the year, I think is fantastic. But yeah, I was very happy with everything that they announced. Should be good. I'm very much looking forward to it. I am, like I said, now that, because Destiny's such a big game that requires, especially how they've been doing their storytelling on a weekly basis, I am concerned that February is going to be quite difficult. Having Horizon Forbidden West due out 4 days prior to this, Sifu's releasing the day of this, like, February got real busy real quick.
Yeah, especially for you. Like for me, Feb still seems pretty okay.
For you who doesn't have the big MMO style game,
yeah,
it does make it a little
everything
bit
is Gucci for me. All right, quick bits. Let's get in there. The lighter and the revised PS5 model that we discussed previous weeks is currently available now in Australia. However, it is a different SKU. The model previously reported was the digital only edition. However, Australia has received a new product number SKU of a PS5 disc version, which is the 300 grams lighter, which does have the new thumb screw or the grip screw.
Yeah, so it's available in Australia and the UK. I forgot to list that.
Yeah. So previously it was just the Australia, and then a little bit later. So my theory on this is that we're now starting to see the consoles that are coming out of the not Foxconn site. Maybe they're talking about building out of Taiwan, I think, with a different chip size. That was the big thing from memory. So it looks like they're finally hitting ships and getting out. So I think we'll be seeing these more spread. If PlayStation can deliver out of 2 separate locations, it looks as if we may be able to go down a path to meet some of that demand around the PS5, hopefully. Little Nightmares 2 is now available on natively on the PS5 with 2 separate modes, one with just 60 FPS with ray tracing and the other being 30 frames at a 4K res. It is a free upgrade, Max. Free! No dollary dues required. Assassin's Creed Odyssey will also be receiving a patch to run at 60 frames per second on the PS5 with a new patch on the way. So no PS5 version, just a nice increase in the frames. And then finally, Rocket League will also be getting a patch, this time adding a pull your dick, a dick on the table, impressive 120 frames per second on the PS5 version in performance mode, while delivering a above standard 60 frames per second at 4K in their high resolution mode. So they're like, it's just 120 frames, it's cool. It's just 4K 60. Nah, it's nothing.
4K 60. Next up, we have top 10 PlayStation 4 games, the best-selling top 10 PS4 games for the week ending 22nd of
in
August. In Australia. Number 10, we have Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 9, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 8, Need for Speed Heat. Number 7, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Number 6, FIFA 21. Number 5, PlayStation Hits Gran Turismo Sport. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 3, PlayStation Hits God of War. Number 2, Madden 22. Is that Madden 22?
Sure is.
And number 1, again, back in top spot, GTA 5.
Fucking how? Just actually how?
So I wonder, with the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut sitting at number 7, I wonder how they pulled those numbers, because I think like the PlayStation 5 upgrade, the PS4 and the PS4 version all have different SKUs. So I wonder how it would be interesting to see what the numbers are if it included the PS5 sales as well, because obviously this is just a list for PS4.
I presume this is just people that just bought the disc, like as in went and bought the version of it. Like I don't think it counts the upgrades or anything. All right, so here are the upcoming releases. So Rustler coming to PS4 and PS5 on the 31st. PS4, PS5 on the 31st. Monster Harvest, a game that I've been fucking keen for the longest time, is coming on PS4 on August 31st. Pardon me. WRC 10 is coming to PS4 and PS5 September 2nd. Rico London coming to PS4 September 2nd. Golf Club Wasteland coming to PS4 on September 3rd. Kitaria Fables, PS4, PS5 on September 3rd. That wraps up the show. Oh, we should also mention we did receive a review code for I Expect You to Die 2 on PSVR. I've not set up the PSVR yet.
I will try and check it out this week because my PSVR is still set up.
Yeah. I'm keen as fuck to play it. So, I will put the effort in and move this table around and play in here for a little bit with it, which should be fun. It does look like a lot of fun. All right, big thank you everyone for joining us as always. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Big shout outs to the following. To as we say, we do record this on Twitch live every week on a Saturday Australian time in the afternoon at 4 p.m. So we in that time we received a follow from Hoss00312 _ thank you, and Delicate Stone came in with a resub for his 11th month. Thank you very much, Lloyd. Love you long time. Max, send us home.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join us as the conversation happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show like many, many, many awesome people have. I say many, that's way too many. Like some people have. We love having people become part of the show. We'd like to hear your thoughts as we go. It is great. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Or if you're on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players.